Is this, oh, it is on.
Do I need that? No. I don't need it? No. I'm not enough. Thank you, everybody, for coming and joining in the event. It's great to see so many faces. I am thrilled to welcome a very close associate of mine, a wonderful professional. Uh-oh. What did I do wrong?
We're live streaming. We do need the microphone.
Oh, sorry if anybody's watching live streaming. Thank you, Dave. I always like being pointed out when I'm doing something wrong. So I have a brief little bio here on Peter, who's one of the most incredible networkers I know, and I've been out networking now for probably about 15 years too, so he's really quite extravagant in many ways. So Peter's extensive business background includes 15 years in the service industry and 10 years experience in communication and business development in the wine industry. Good guy to know. He has now been with the Greater Victoria Chamber of Commerce for 3 years, networking and building long-term relationships in Victoria's diverse business sectors. And as you know, there's many, many different business sectors here in Victoria. Peter is renowned for his energy and his ability to develop lasting and long-term relationships. Thank you.
All right. Apparently I'm already going. Thanks so much, folks. Yeah.
Oh. We have an umbrella that's been left over.
Oh, anyone with the checkered umbrella? Anyone?
Thank you, Peter.
No worries. Excellent. Part and parcel of it. In fact, never ever mistake that for an opportunity or as a non-opportunity for when you're going to go, oh, you forgot your poodle, you forgot your child. Usually, if it's me, leave my kid at Walmart, it's actually on purpose. You know, what's that old adage? I child-proof my house, but they still keep getting in. Something like that. So I was asked by Natasha to come in and just sort of do a brief overview of networking and why it's important. It actually is one of the most essential particular bits of business you will ever do. The reason being is because business is not run by robots, as much as Microsoft would have you know. But it's true, they're all run by business people, and the personal relationships are absolutely key. Is there anything out there that anyone has? I mean, if I could have one volunteer just put their hand up and tell me what networking is. Anyone? Wow, tough crowd. Go ahead.
Talking to people.
Just talking to people. Anyone want to expound on that a little bit?
Talking to people, explaining, basically what you can offer or what you do and what they do, and try to build a rapport and some kind of positive experience.
That's actually very good. You got to start it. That's good. Essentially, yes, you're absolutely correct. The exchange of ideas of what we're all doing in the same room. Nothing could be more intimidating than going to some of the chamber particular stuff that we have going on. When you've got 250 to 300 people in the room, you just kind of go in there and go, wow, where do I start? And it's not really in everyone's particular personal wheelhouse to go into a room full of 300 people and kind of go, yeah, I'm going to rock it tonight. I know exactly what I'm going to do and this kind of thing. Usually what I find through my years anyways, that you got the bankers that come in, oh, hey, Joe, oh, hey, Jim, how are you? Yeah, how are things at the bank? It's like, okay, that's not helping your business. So I want to start off with a couple of the building blocks that will make, even for the most shy, most introverted person in the room, to get into and get your mojo going so you always have that positive exchange of information, okay? Feel free to throw your hand up at any time. I tend to digress often because I get really excited about what it is that I do. So the first thing is to develop a goal. What is it you are trying to achieve? And please, please do not say money, business, and that kind of thing. It's about building the relationships. So I always say it's always about the community connections. And yes, okay, for sales, but you never, ever, ever want to go into it with that. It's not like, okay, hi, I know you know what I want, so let me just pay you now. Does that ever actually happen? No, of course not. So instead what we need to do is lay a groundwork, some sort of level playing field, some ground in which we can begin to have that meaningful exchange, okay? So one thing I always say is that networking is not about you, okay? It's not. It's never about you, okay? For example, it's always about the other person, right? I know who Donald Trump is. He does not return my phone calls, okay? So it's about getting other people to talk about you, your business, your expertise. What's Peter like? Is he a gas bag like we all think he is? Yes, he is. However, if he's gassing off about your business in front of 300 other businesses, that's a particularly good thing, How are we doing so far? Making sense? Okay. So, the particular way that I like to put it is that it's always good to have in your plan the 3 particular questions that you're going to ask. I have the same 3 questions I have asked all of my networking life, all my professional life, and they are as follows. What's your favorite color? Wow, that's deep. What's that got to do with buying and selling of anything? Number 2 is, if you could eat any kind of food, ethnic food, like a Mexican, Japanese, what would that be if you could only eat that one food for the rest of your life? And the third one is, if you could be known for inventing any board game that exists today, what board game would that be? Okay? So what do those particular 3 things have in common? Not really a whole lot. But when you put them together, it actually breaks the ice, first of all, because it's always good to have the icebreaker, right? Because you don't just jump right in, like I said, with kind of going, oh yeah, what do you do? Yeah, oh great, I so want to buy that. It's not going to happen like that. So we basically have to set the ground rules. What does that mean? Well, favorite color. Everyone's got a favorite color. If you don't have a favorite color, make it up, you know? Your particular questions will be your questions, but always good to lead with these questions. It's to find the common ground to get the conversation started, right? The food thing, well, that kind of calls to, you know, the adventurous quality that somebody has. You can actually judge psychologically people's risk in business by the kind of, you know, particular, you know, answer that they have. If they say meat and potatoes, you can kind of sort of examine that and what kind of risk that they have or don't have. If they say, I would only eat Thai food from this one region in Thailand where they eat bugs, then you kind of know where their pulse is for a little bit of risk in business, right? So if you're selling insurance or something like that, somebody says Thailand, if you're an insurance person, you're kind of like, oh, okay, ding, 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 right? And then the third one, which I always love because I always get, you know, lots of diverse sort of answers with the board game. The people that say chess, what kind of psychological makeup does that mean? If they say Monopoly, what kind of, you know, makeup does that suggest, right? And if they say Scrabble, which is my personal favorite, well, what does that say? Oh, they're just going to talk my ear off, yeah. So that's basically what happens there. So like I said, very general questions, but great leading questions. They're not anything. We always say about the three taboo subjects: sex, religion. What's the other one? Politics. Yeah. So that's actually a really good rule of thumb to follow. Don't talk about those things. Me, I break that rule every single time that I can. But it's like, yeah, okay, great. So you're a Republican that does. Yeah. Anyway. So we'll leave that one alone. So come up and develop your own particular 3 questions that you have. Okay? You will find that if you walk into a room of 1,000 people, you'll be able to have meaningful conversations as you go and things. And it's great because it's like, what's your favorite color? What shade of green?
Light green? I don't know.
Okay, so light green like we're talking of. Lime or?
Yeah, lime's good.
Okay, all right. Well, if you could only eat one kind of food for the rest of your life, what would that be? Pizza. Right. Nice. We're talking wood fire oven or that Panagopolis crap. Sorry, the good stuff. Okay, nice. I like it. And if you had to be known for inventing one kind of board game, what would that be?
Monopoly.
Monopoly? There you go. So, you see how the 3 of us can now have a little bit of a discourse? And if nothing else, using the lime green things in Monopoly, which are the hotels. Oh, come on, I'm the only one that plays Monopoly here? Are you kidding me? God. Eating pizza, you know, and this kind of stuff, right? See how that goes? So it's a really nice way to break ice and to actually start to get into the nitty-gritty. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay. Now, the other thing is that once you've got that down, your 3 particular questions for breaking the ice, you have to have an elevator pitch. What kind of work do you do? What kind of work do you want to do, or have you done? Healthcare, home healthcare. Okay, so in literally 7.5 seconds, tell me what that is.
Home healthcare is assisting elderly people with their basic needs at home.
There you go. That's good. That's really good. If you take longer than 7 seconds to tell somebody what you do, you are not. You don't know what you're doing, and that's what it says to the person. Oh yeah, well I'm a computer tech and do a little bit of website design and I do a little bit. No. what it is that you do, the core competency that you have, figure out what that is, be proud of what that is because you do it better than most, and say it like that. It's really that simple. People don't have the time, and they're so going to be going, oh, right, tall guy over there that's got a whole bunch of people around, I'm going to go talk to him now, right? You need to have the audience as well, okay? So another thing is, it's appearance, and I'm going to just put it out there. Like, I mean, look, an ugly hump like me still gets to talk to people because at least I wear a tie and things like that, or whatever it happens to be. It's the kind of thing where a lot of people say, well, yeah, I subscribe to that. It's Victoria. I mean, the people that live on Salt Spring Island are just as much or less tie-wearing folk as anybody else. But I got to tell you, if it's a business event, you want to actually have a little bit of that going there. Ladies, perfume? No, absolutely not. Sorry. If you're going to smell good for your friends, smell good for your partners and things like that. Guys, that Ralph Lauren stuff, leave it at home, really, because it really gets like that. If you're a smoker, just don't smoke for when you're doing the thing. Don't go out and do that kind of thing. It's offensive, and people get really turned off by that. Okay? And those are cues that, I mean, if you're going to attract people, because that's the whole point of why you're networking, why would you want to repel them at the same time? Okay? The number one thing that I look for, and what I call the currency of networking, are these business cards. Okay? Now, most of you know that in Japan, they actually have week-long courses of how one will actually accept and give a business card. And I think that is absolutely rocking, because people don't know how to do it. They're like, oh yeah, here you go, maybe you want to take one of these. What? What do you mean maybe you want to take one of these? And it's actually not about how many you give out. And I've had this so many times. Oh, you guys at the chamber went to like 13 of your events and gave out over 1,000 cards, never got a single call back. Good. How many cards did you get back? Oh, yeah, well, I don't want to bug anybody. I don't want to bother you, This guy said, no. When you ask for someone's business card, you're saying, okay, as I had asked the gentleman about what do you do, and even if I'm feigning interest because I'm nervous or whatever, get into it. And it's a polite thing to do. It's like, what do you do? Okay, well, that's great. Thank you so much. And the way that the Japanese do it, like I said, which is de rigueur, which you got to do, is you grab it, and when you're really trying to do it properly, grab it like this. Note the company name and their name and then their position in that company, and read it back to them. Oh, you work for the chamber. You're Peter Miles, you're an account representative. Yeah, that's really cool. What does that mean? What do you do? Tell me what your typical day is like. And then you'll start getting that information again, which will get further and further to the core of what it is that you're doing there as far as data mining to get that in there. And also helps to build the personal relationship, right? Not like you have to know what the name of their first pet was, because you're going to figure out what your porn star name is going to be. I mean, that's all fun and everything, but really, see what I mean? It rides the line, okay? So the elevator pitch, always, always, always. 10 seconds or less, got to be, okay? The other thing that you will need, always, is one of these. And the reason why is you will meet more people because they forgot their pen, and that would be the ultimate icebreaker. Hey, can I borrow your pen? Awesome, yeah, okay. Sorry, I got it. Do you have an alternate email address or something like that you actually answer rather than the info at, right? So that's good. And then the last thing, just about protocol, if you have a phone like this, set your phaser on stun, please, okay? There is nothing more than a kick in the crotch to anybody that you're talking to. It's, oh, it's really important, I gotta answer this, okay? No, nothing is more important than what you're doing at that point, which is gathering up the business cards, okay? So when you get home, right, or hang on, let me just say, when you're at the event, which you can see if I've covered a lot of these things here, probably have. Yes. People often ask me, because people that know me well know that I used to work in the wine industry. I'm a lot more sober now, thank you for asking. Of course, according to my wife, that's actually not true. But seriously, it's, yes, there is plenty of drinks to have and that kind of thing. The rule of thumb is if you're going to drink at these things, one drink and only one drink. Two very, very important reasons for that. Difference between one drink and 16 drinks is who's buying them for you. And two, you probably have to drive home after the event. And I can tell you, in the wine industry, if they ever see you even slightly inebriated, slurring your words at all, you don't work in that industry anymore. The reason why is because you are a liability, right? And think about it, surrounded by booze all day long. Oh man, those were really good days, but anyway. Okay, so only one drink. If you hit it off with somebody, you want to go out for a drink with them afterwards, do it that way, take a cab, be safe. If anyone sees you, exhibiting any reckless behavior, you ain't gonna be doing business with them. You're just not. And we've all had those sort of situations where we all had to, drag our friends by the hair home. Come on, university wasn't that long ago for me. I used to work at the university bar. I know, saw that every night. So anyway, all right. So like I said, it's never about you. It's always about them. So when you're breaking the ice and you're doing all that, try to steer the conversation towards them, right? They're the ones that will be buying from you eventually. They're the ones that you want to sell to. They're the ones that are going to help you find those people that will eventually and buy whatever product or service that you are providing. So that just kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Always reflects, oh yeah. It's like, oh wow, you got a bit of cat hair on your leg there, Pete. Yeah, okay. What kind of cat? See what I mean? There you go. I'm allergic to cats. That's why I'm backing away from it. All right, that's fine. All right, so there's that. Any questions about at the event? Okay. How are we doing so far? Doing all right? Good. After the event, how many days is it appropriate to let go by after you have your huge stack of business cards? Do you actually call the person? Anyone, just shout it out. How many days?
2 weeks.
2 weeks before you get hold of them?
2 days.
Right away.
Right away meaning?
Well, I would say probably the next day, yeah.
Right. 17 hours psychologically, right? To get back to them. Everyone's got an email address now if they don't, or just leave a voicemail or something like that. 17 hours. Why 17 hours? It means you had to take time out of your life, either eating or sleeping, or doing something in your personal time to get hold of that person. And it's not like they go, wow, it was only 15 hours, and Peter gave me a call, that's awesome. It's not going to be like that. It's just like, A, you've done it, it's off your plate, and I don't care who you are in the world, you're selling something at some point. So whether it's macrame or whether it's cars, it doesn't matter what it is. So you need to have and develop those relationships. Keep them as warm as possible, because it might not be that one person is that you're trying to talk to, but it could be somebody that they're related to. Yes?
What's the feel of that? You're putting it out there, that message. What are you saying? Hi, how are you? What's going on? What are you following up on?
It was great to meet you at the blah blah event. If you remember anything personal, which you can retort back, not like, oh, well, I really hope your leg gets better or something like that, or hope your relationship works out. It should be something more like, it would be great to grab a coffee at some point and things. Really appreciated talking to you. And you would be amazed at how that can really work out positively. Annie?
I'd like to know if those 17 hours count weekends, or like writing to someone during the weekend would be a little bit
Very,
intrusive.
very good question. It doesn't count if it's on a weekend. If it's a weekend event and it's kind of a social event, I mean, it's kind of for work or whatever, I would say use your judgment, but it would be totally appropriate that if it's on a Friday night, if they have an email address, I would say, yeah, if they have an email address, which is Peter, Peter at the chamber, yeah, drop me a line. Absolutely. Take some time when you do that over the weekend. Well, what else are you doing other than recovering from your hangover? I mean, come on, guys, like that's easy.
The reason I'm asking is because wouldn't you see it as intrusive? Like, I'm on the weekend, is this sort of a business?
Phone calls are intrusive on a weekend, right? Because it demands people's personal time to pick that up. If they're not going to pick up their email until Monday, totally fine. Thing is, it's off your plate, you've done it, and you don't have to think about it now. If you wait for 2 weeks, not to pick on you, but if you wait for 2 weeks, who are you? What do you want? And what is that about my relationship working out is what's going to come back to haunt you, right? So it's that kind of thing. So do the due diligence, right? These are people, not businesses. It's people that run the businesses. Okay? Excellent question. Yes?
How about connecting with them over a social network or maybe LinkedIn?
So another good thing as well, LinkedIn is fine. I would make case that you keep your LinkedIn, your Google Chrome plus whatever it is, Foursquare and things like that. LinkedIn is really the only one because it's set up for business. It's understood like that. If you want to send them, hey, good to see you on, last night, LinkedIn, that kind of thing. I will also tell you this, your Pat, hey, I'd like to link in with you, which everyone's using. No, if you want to send them a personal LinkedIn message, that's always good. It was great to meet you at the event last night. A, they're going to be, okay, yeah, I remember the guy that was at the place there. Thanks for getting a hold of me. And yeah, I'll link in with you. Yes?
I would prefer to do an email over a LinkedIn communication,
I-
wouldn't you?
I think you meant as well as,
Yeah.
right? As well as, right. So, and the thing is, if you've lost business cards, and this happens to me all the time, I'll get home and I'll throw my pants in the wash and, uh-oh, right. So it might be a great way to go ahead and to data mine to find the person that either you forgot, lost their business card or something like that. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The number one way to do it is if they have a personal email address, that's the best way to do it. And leave it open for them. If it was something which got a little bit hotter in conversations, like we should really do that lunch thing or something like that, then absolutely email first. And if you haven't heard in about 3-4 days, even if it's over a weekend, give them a call Tuesday, Wednesday, and just say, look, was really interested in get together for that coffee and that kind of thing. But yeah, social networks, never Facebook, always LinkedIn, because it's set up for that, okay? Somebody wants to be my best friend on Facebook, yeah, no, doesn't happen like that. You don't need to see pictures of what I do to my kids on, while we hike. That's basically they're dragging me down the mountain because I'm totally winded, but that's okay. All right. All right. Let's see here. Ba-ba-da-bum. Just a little note on that. The more depth of conversation that you have with the person at the networking event, you will find that that will also dictate exactly which way to get hold of them. So gauge that. Like I said, you're never wrong with an email, okay? But certainly with follow-up with a phone call. And if you feel that it's really amenable, yeah, give me a call if they say that. Hey, give me a shout next week and let's go do the lunch thing and stuff and clink and away you go and continue along your business. Yes, Lynn?
On the topic of in-depth conversation at the event,
Yes.
what is a good amount of time to take up of somebody else's networking time? I think you've all been at those events where you get caught with one person
And they're like me and talking your ear off and, oh, how do I get away?
but both ways, what is the sort of standard etiquette?
For enough time to resolve a question. When I say resolve a question is, oh, so Lynn, you do da-da-da, which is, let's just pull one out here. What do you do, Lynn, actually? Oh, really? Okay, I don't know anything about that. Okay, let's say that it's cars, just for sake of argument, okay? So it's like, oh, okay, so cars. And so what kind of car do you drive? It's a leading question, which has a finite answer. If you need to get away from somebody and that kind of thing, as a woman, this is, I got to tell you, is especially important. There's always got to be a creepy guy out there for sure, or whatever, and this kind of thing. And I'll get into wingmen in a minute. But the way to go is, if you're going to go with a friend, okay, let's just go into it now. If you're going to go with a friend, you're going with a friend because they're going to have your back and they're going to be watching you from across the room. They're going to be watching you from across the room, right? Because you get into a situation where it's like, hey, so how you doing? Nobody needs that. And then, so your friend comes up and goes, yeah, can I just talk to you for a second, or whatever, and this kind of thing? Or, oh, I just ran into so-and-so, make up something and get away from that. So the proper amount of time, usually about 3 minutes. And that can be a lifetime. If it's the, hey, how you doing, guy, right? But you don't want to be rude. You want to skate along that sort of plane, which is proper manners and that kind of thing. Because, again, how people see you react to the, how you doing, guy, that will actually resonate loudly with them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Sort of, kind of?
Yeah.
You had a question?
That was the question.
That was it?
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay. So wingmen, yeah, all good. Ladies, you got a gal pal that's coming in with you and things like that to watch your back. It can be a really, really good thing, especially if you're nervous about going in there. But don't stand there and talk to your pal the whole time you're there and that kind of stuff. Or say, oh, yeah, well, here's, I just got an email from somebody. What are we doing after this? Well, if you just want to go and do something after that, then go then. Don't even bother going. Okay? Da-ba-da-ba. All right, where am I here? Okay, got the goals. Okay, and that we kind of done too. Just, I've located a good prospect. Now what? Does anyone even want me to go through this? I think you know what to do. Connect with them in all the ways that you can, that are meaningful, that makes sense, and that kind of stuff, okay? So let me go through some general do's and don'ts, okay? After the event, if you're going to meet with somebody, especially for you women folk, I make it an absolute rule that I actually have a little cafe that I go and meet with people all the time, because it's out in public, it's relaxed. If I spill something, it's not like it's on my desk or that kind of thing. Especially if you're an independent contractor and you work from home. Ladies, if I ever hear about you meeting someone at the house because you have a home office, I will go ballistic. Don't, please, please do not do that, okay? 2 reasons for that. A, the safety, which is absolutely a no-brainer. And B, go and stimulate the economy a bit, would you? It's just a coffee, okay? And that kind of thing. So that's good, all right? When you're with the person, you're wrapping up that meeting, whether it be at the networking event and stuff like that, you've hopefully warmed them up to the point where they know what you do, exchange business cards, that kind of stuff. Do you know anyone that needs a car? Everyone drives in this town and that kind of stuff. That's not the most crazy thing to do. It's like, and that sort of kind of gets them sort of like, oh, well, they know I don't need a car, so don't try to sell me a car. But actually, my cousin that I know of might need a car. You know what I mean? So it's always that kind of thing. It's never necessarily the person that's in front of you who's your target audience. I think I've covered that in 3 ways to Sunday at this point, but I think it's important to point that out. Okay? Always be positive. Yeah, hi. Yeah, I'm Peter, I work for the Chamber of Commerce, and yeah, dog died today. Great, that's perfect. Well, yeah, okay. If your dog died that day, don't go to the event, okay? You have to be in the frame of mind to do it. There's a little bit of fake it until you make it as well. Be as positive as you possibly can, okay? There's nothing worse than kind of walking. We've all had that situation where we're standing there waiting for a coffee at Starbucks and someone's got the storm cloud around their head and it's just like, you know what? Go take 50, grab that coffee that you just made for me and go and enjoy it, because if that doesn't cheer you up, nothing will, kind of thing, right? So the same thing, the same sort of idea. It's just that anything that's going to repel people, just don't do that, okay? Sounds crazy? If you have some friends over a couple of drinks on a weekend night, you know the big networking events coming up for your work, practice. It sounds insane, and really, it actually helps if you have a drink in your hand to do it, or several. But it sounds crazy, but you get to work on that elevator pitch. Get it from your 30 seconds humming and hawing down to, this is what I do. And mine is really easy. Hi, I'm Peter, I work for the Chamber of Commerce. Are you a Greater Victoria Chamber of Commerce member yet? We can change that. Or how can I help, if the answer is yes, how can I help to really leverage your membership? Boom, 5 seconds, easy, right? If it sounds natural, comes out of your mouth naturally, then people are going to be more at ease, and you're attracting those flies rather than repelling them, okay? Again, it's never about yourself, and never shut anyone down, okay? Again, it's a little bit of sort of talking parlay, thrust and parry kind of idea. Not that anyone should be, you know, trying to outwit somebody or anything like that, or ha ha ha, you always got the one funny guy, right? Yeah, okay, that's me, but anyway. Maybe not so funny all the time. But, you know, it's the kind of thing where like, oh, well, what I want to talk about now is your brooch, your necklace, your watch, your whatever it's going to say. Yeah, it was a gift. Okay, whatever. Again, you're repelling. Don't do that. Well, thanks. Yeah, it was a gift from so-and-so. And then you can, that opens the door. If you answer the question just sort of by the by, I think we all get it, just by normal social etiquette. If you've answered the question to the full and it's understood in the conversation, then you can lead with another question that is maybe on your agenda, right? Again, then you can also sort of, hey, it's great to talk to you. I'm just going to go to the bar, bathroom, wherever if you need to get the hell out of Dodge, right? So it's always good, okay? The number one thing that makes me cringe when I am at these events is like, oh yeah, oh, you know, so, oh, hey, Jim, how are you doing? Selling cars, how's it going? Oh yeah, well, those jerks over at Hyundai, you have no idea. Undercutting us every single time, it just, oh, wow. Okay, great. If you want to be known as the most unprofessional car salesperson out there in the world, please do that. And the guys at Hyundai are gonna love you for it, okay? Never talk smack about your competition. Even though maybe they don't have a leg to stand on, it doesn't really matter, okay? They're in business. Let's put it this way. The more people that are talking about your sector and the health and welfare and how we can make it healthier, that's good. Competition's really, 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 really good thing, people. And you just got to find ways to be better than your competition, to stay head and shoulders above that. Okay? And I think the last thing is never mix business with pleasure. Okay? Again, back to your, is it a Facebook or a LinkedIn thing? If you know exactly where they fit in your life as far as Facebook or LinkedIn, you've already made that assumption, that decision. Follow your guts and what your guts say to you about how that will go. Okay? And like I said, there's all sorts of safety concerns and things like that. You're going into these things to build your repertoire of your Rolodex, and people still use those. I do, actually. To get those cards, to build those community connections, and to have a more meaningful way of going about it. Remember, it's not about who you know, a la, Donald Trump, in my case. It's about the people that are talking about you. If you present yourself in a professional business manner, if people know this, oh, yeah, you had the last thing right. Yeah, you had that dog, right. How's it doing? Not that you would complain about your dog, right? But anyway, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where all those things just start to happen organically. You will be relaxed. They will be automatically relaxed. And you can actually start to get down to the nitty-gritty. And the more you get to know them, then the more right into the conversation you can get. So if you have somebody who's you used to work with or went to school with, hey, what are you doing now? That's okay to say, But sitting there with this total stranger to do that, maybe not so much. Okay? That's basically it. It's an acquired trait, okay? If you do not practice it, you will not get any better at it. If you do not go and do these things, you are completely undoing the most cost-effective way of marketing of all time. It's the way it's always been done, the way it will always be done, so you might as well just get used to the fact that it's going to happen and you're going to have the opportunity to do it. And I think maybe one last thing is there anywhere where you should not be networking? And the answer is yes. The bathroom. A public washroom is not the place to do it. Other than that, you're pretty much good to go. Any questions? Yes.
You said at the very beginning to have some goals. Can you give an example of what a good goal would be?
I sell cars. I want to find 5 people that have bought a car in the last year and a half, because those cars will need maintenance or something like that. Or how was your experience buying the car? Just if you get that kind of yardstick, their response, their answers will help you be a better car salesperson, right? And that's true of any particular sector that you could possibly have, right? So it's about the information gathering, not about like, yeah, my goal is to have 3 hot prospects I'm going to close next week. Yeah, A, that's not going to happen. So that's an unrealistic expectation or goal. So to find people in other sectors, which is also a good one too. I'm a computer tech. I'm looking for nonprofits. I'm in a room full of bankers. Bankers don't care about nonprofits. Actually, not true. They all care about nonprofits. Who are the people at your bank branch that deal with the nonprofits? That answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Well, any other questions? Yes.
I think a lot of us were trying to sell ourselves, so it would be our first job. How
Okay.
do you recommend we go about in the business cards without kind of the exchange? What would you recommend for that first interaction?
The number one thing you should never say, I'm looking for a job, okay? Oh my Lord, if I had $1 for every single time, and I try to give as much advice on the fly or over a coffee or something like that, because this is a really, really hard town to do business in, and I know that because I do it every day, right? The best thing to do is if you have one of those mock cards, which has got your core competencies and what you're looking for, and I have to be absolutely clear with you. Your elevator pitch at that point has got to be absolutely solid. I am looking for information to be the best possible that I could possibly be. If you would have time to, if you know that you're speaking to somebody that is in the field in which you want to, because that's why you would go to the networking thing, and that's why you would be chatting with this person, hopefully, or they have somebody in their life that does that particular sector work. Would it be possible to link in with you or give you my card? Can I get your card? And just to maybe have an introduction, a warm introduction, looking to get as much information as I can to be the best And with that kind of way of prefacing it, then A, people aren't put off because you're like going to be this clamoring, you know, please, please, you know, because that really turns people off. But to sit there and kind of go, yeah, you know what? I'm here to get the information. Because with the information, then I'm going to be the best employee of this particular ilk that I can possibly be. That answer your question? Awesome. Yes, sir.
Peter, what advice would you give international students? We come from different cultural backgrounds.
Yes.
Some people are introverted because that's the way things are in their culture. And I particularly come from an environment in which you only approach people when you have genuine intentions of meeting that person, or you don't really want to, I'm sorry the expression, but you don't really want to suck up or to be the person to approach someone to get something in exchange. So how do you do that when you're from outside, from abroad, and you want to build a solid relationship? You have to network, because otherwise you won't get anybody, or you don't get to know anybody here. So how do you do that in a good way, but not to have a different, you know, because you come from a different experience, so not to collide with your personal beliefs.
I think the more that you've spoken right there, you've actually answered your own question. First of all, and cultural mores and differences are really, really important. If I go to meet the folks at the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, for example, I will bow. I'm not an idiot. I know that at least that is expected. If they're going to shake my hand, it's always after I bow. I also know, and that's the whole thing too, is that if you're doing international flavored work and you're in the room of the particular folks and they're from, do your homework. All right? I would, safe to say, show of hands, who didn't know if you're meeting with Chinese delegates, Asian delegates, that you would not bow? Does anyone here not know that? Right? Now, if we're meeting here in Canada, I'm going to say, when you walk through that door, everyone is equal. Okay? Where this is a sticky wicket, I'm really glad you brought this up. Where it's a sticky wicket is my language skills in English, walking into an English networking party, are not very strong. Use it to your advantage. Your English is fine. I can, detect a bit of an accent. It's really loud in here. Can we come over here and talk where it's a little less quiet, or a little less loud anyway, and that kind of thing. With women in business, in certain areas in the world, this is just not equal, which drives me nuts, but that's for a conversation for another time. But when you are going into the things here in North America, at least, everyone's equal until you make yourself otherwise. So, like I said, the whole point of this whole conversation, or this whole seminar, is to make you as equal as possible, okay? You will never be a suck-up unless there's some sort of subordination that you bring to how it is that you're approaching them. Oh, yeah, you're the big boss. Oh, yeah, I'm nobody. Nobody needs that. It's like here to shake your hand and just to learn a little bit more about your business, right? That's easy.
So use your experience as an advantage, or your language, or your
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And it's a great way to lead. Hey, I can tell from your accent you're not, from here. This is what I love about being Canadian. Everyone's come from somewhere else. Everyone's got a story. And the people that forget that, that's their problem, not yours, okay? And don't go in with a chip on your shoulder, you're gold. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Yeah.
What is a handshake the way to meet people? Some people don't necessarily agree with handshake.
Because they're germaphobes, or because they bow, or,
Well, there's a whole, the germ thing.
Sure. If you're going to sneeze and, oh, hey, how are you doing?
Some people don't want to, it depends where you are. I mean, traditionally business is business and it's just shake, and that can mean a lot. But maybe for your type of business, it isn't.
What kind of business we're talking about?
My name is Judy.
Yes,
I work for myself, guiding people to find their best physical and emotional health, providing them treatments.
Excellent. You will always shake people's hands.
I do, yes. I was
Always. I'm sorry, just what question is when I said hi there, but
No, you did.
that's the other thing, the handshake, the power of the handshake. Yes, is it a universal? As much as English being used in traffic control towers, the handshake is universal. There's not a single, like I said, there's not a single Asian business person that I've met, male, female, that I have not bowed to show respect and then shaken their hand. It's never not happened. It's just never not happened. Now, you know, I have a particularly strong grip because I'm not a very big guy, so I like to assert myself just a little bit. But that's just my own little dirty secret. But anyways, germaphobes, great. If you sneeze into your hand, and that's one way to get out of it. If you are a germaphobe, I'm serious. Kind of go, oh, sorry. I'd shake your hand, but I'm getting over something. I don't want you to get it. Trust me, for the amount of sick days that I could have logged and don't, how many hands do I shake in any given week? Are you kidding me? And not only that, but I have kids that are little disease-ridden vermin anyway, because they go to school and they pick up everything, right? So it's insane. But that's the other thing too, is that just the health and safety aspect. Get the little thing of Purell and you know, hand sanitizer, please, just for guys like me, okay, that have to shake their hand and things like that. But if you're not a handshaker, you're going to have a problem. If you want to do business, you are a handshaker. It's just the way it goes. Any other questions? Yes.
You said that when we go for networking events, so the right time to, the right amount of time to follow up is like within 17 hours.
Yes, sir.
Right? But when we go for like a job interview and then we come back, so what is the right amount of time where we should follow up, and what is the right approach that we should follow to follow up?
Let the potential employer lead to you, okay? The time when that, you know, the inequality of balance, right, obviously is, I mean, I don't think there's a single person in the room would disagree with me if I said you're subordinate to them. They are the people that represent the company and things. Whatever they say, do that. Normally, they will not let you leave the room and say, we'll be in touch. You can sort of guide, you know, and trust me, I've had enough job interviews in my life to know, is it, yeah, we'll call you. Okay, at that point, they're probably not going to call, and I would say 5 business days. So if that's on a Friday, you'll get hold of them on a Thursday. Best to get the card and the information and an email, always, always, always. They're busy people. If they're in a hiring spree, they're looking at not just you, but 25 other people like you, and they won't have time to say, hey, how come I haven't heard from you yet? It just sends a really bad signal. An email is good. Thank you for taking the time. It's their time, people, right? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If there's any more information that you need from me, more than willing to give it to you. Let me know. Go gently into that good night. Any questions? These are really good questions, by the way. That's it. Yes.
I'd like to know about informational interviews.
Okay.
It's something that is new to me, and I'm not sure for many people here. So do you go, let's say, on a networking event? I'd like to have an informational interview, and what does that look like?
An informational interview is obviously now you've got it down to the point where the person that you're requesting that from, or you're going to draft an email to said, usually an employer, right? Hi, I did one where I was trying to get into the advertising game in town, so I got hold of all the advertising agencies, got the top dogs, because I'm a bit of a sleuth when it comes to Google. That's just what I do. So there's 2 really important things. First off is if you ever get to their executive assistant or the person that's in front, the person that's running the front desk and things like that, never, ever, ever be rude. I know they're just working stiffs, just like us all, and this kind of stuff, but I'm got to tell you, I always make it a point when I'm meeting so-and-so that is looking after, you know, Mr. or Ms., you know, bigwigs, you know, thing, to absolutely make sure that I treat them like gold. Why? Because your phone call can maybe just get dropped, lost, email, maybe not put through, and that kind of thing. With informational interviews, it is, I want 15 minutes of your time, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Generally speaking, the people will relent and say, okay, well, let's go grab a coffee. Do your homework. Know something about either the person you're meeting, the company that they're working for. Go in armed. I have heard that you have done great things. And usually when, again, 3 points. I know that you took this company 6 years ago from the ashes, and now it's a Fortune 500. That's a good thing to know. You were educated at da-da-da-da-da, and you spent time wherever it happens to be. You can find that information pretty easily. And if not, you call and you talk to the executive assistant. Get their brains a little bit, right? And the other thing is, too, is try to find that one question which has got common ground. And then that way, when you sit down with them, it's like, oh, okay, you studied here, you did that, a little bit of background. So, wow, you've done your homework. Means that you have gone way above and beyond to find out something about the person that you want to get the information from. They will be willing to tell you their life story at that point. Okay? That's it?
Yeah, I guess it's time to wrap up.
Okay. Anyways, folks, I have my cards here. I am willing via email or anything like that if you have any more questions of me. The only thing that I ask of you when you do this, because this has worked for me too, everyone here knows a business that is maybe not a member of the Chamber of Commerce.
Fantastic pitch.
Okay? Okay?
Thank you very much for
You're
your
welcome.
time. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
And
It's been
on
a pleasure.
behalf of RRU and students, we would like to thank you and would like to present a gift to you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Socks. Thanks so much. All right. Excellent. Is that gin? That's awesome. You knew I was coming. Thanks so much, folks. Really appreciate it. It's okay.